Hey, what is up, everybody? Now I'm here to give you guys my Halloween movie review series. This is going to be the 7th edition. And this is now Halloween 7, pretty much. But it's actually not called Halloween 7. This movie is actually called Halloween H20, 20 years later. So this is 20 years after the second Halloween, pretty much. This is pretty much the sequel of the first two Halloweens. I'll let the cat out of the bag now. There was absolutely no mention of anything that goes down in the last three that I just reviewed. So there's nothing mentioned about 4, 5, or 6. Which was very strange, and I'll get to why it's strange. It's just kind of weird that this movie pretty much took place in like an alternate universe. It's like the first two and this one takes place in an alternate universe, then 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 place in its own universe. Maybe these have maybe this is like a multi-universe thing, where Michael Myers exists in two universes. I don't know. And then obviously you got Halloween 3 that takes place in like a shitty universe. So, but anyhow, it's just weird. And I think that kind of hurts my enjoyment of this movie because they didn't really mention Jamie at all. And in the fourth one and fifth one and sixth one, we find out that Jamie was Laurie's mother, and obviously we were supposed to have questioned why the hell Laurie is still alive, since they pretty much said that she was dead in 4 through 6. We do find out why that's a thing. They did explain that, but yeah, everything else is just weird. Another thing that's hurts this movie is Donald Pleasance. This was the first Halloween that now I'm not counting 3, but this is the first Halloween that didn't have him in it. And you could definitely feel that it kind of took an effect because he, other than Michael Myers, he was Halloween. He made the films really mean something, and his acting skills were great. And him not being in this movie took a huge blow because, it just wasn't the same. They didn't have Dr. Loomis at all in it. He's mentioned in it, but he's not in it at all. They don't really say what happens to him, actually. Because, like I said, this is an uncandid film, pretty much. But let me start talking about the movie. So this movie, came out on August 5th, 1998, so it's also weird because this movie came out in the summertime and it was supposed to be Halloween. I still think it should stick to that tradition where this movie comes out just before Halloween, as I talked about in the last review, so that's just weird. It was directed by Steve Miner, and it was produced by Paul Freeman. The story was told by Robert Zappa. And it's obviously based on the film that was written by Deborah Hill and John Carpenter. John Carpenter was originally going to be brought back for this film, but he wasn't interested because he felt like he should have gotten him out because he still didn't get some payments from the first film, so he felt like he was owed that, and he wanted a certain payment for it, and him and Ackett could not get along, so it just wasn't meant to be. Which would have been nice, but they did have some of the producers on who produced the Scream movie, because this was around the time when Scream was becoming popular. In one of the scenes, actually, you could totally see that was the case, that they had worked some sort of deal, because Scream was used in this. Somebody was watching the Scream movie in this film, so I thought that was nice. And this movie had a $17 million budget. So I think this is the most the money that they've put in to the Halloween franchise. So, that's pretty cool. So the movie starts off, we see some old lady coming home. This is the night before Halloween. And she comes home and she sees, and obviously you can clearly see she's a nurse because she was wearing a nurse outfit. And she sees that her house has been broken into, so she goes over to the neighbor's house to tell them about it, and she meets the teenage boys one named Jimmy and his friend Tony. He pops out in like a hockey mask, and she was supposed to have thought that he was going to be a killer. And then pretty much they call the cops. The cops said they're going to be over right away. Then Jimmy's going to go investigate because he's like pretty much a badass teenager. He tries to be a badass. He's a rebel. So he goes to investigate. He looks all around the house. We see Michael Myers slowly popping up behind him. Then, then pretty much he swings his hockey stick thinking that someone's there. He was stealing her beers. And then he destroys the kitchen. And he also goes in there and find out that her office room has just been trashed because there's papers all over the place. So he goes out there and tells her that. He acts like he didn't make a mess in the kitchen. So then when she goes in there, she sees that Laurie Strode's file is empty. So obviously she knows there's some trouble about to happen. So she goes to tell Jimmy and Tony about it. Then she sees and then we see Michael Myers watching her. And then we see that Michael Myers killed him by stabbing him with an ice skate. And he also killed his friend Tony. I think he just stabbed him in the back with something. I don't really remember how. So then she sees Michael Myers. Michael Myers grabs a knife like he's going to stab her. She tries to fight him off the best she can. The police show up. And before the police see her, she tries to break through the window to get out to let them know that she's there. But Michael Myers cuts her throat and kills her. And then the police find this out. And then the police one of the police thinks that it's Michael Myers, and he's like, there's no way that it can be. And we find out that this was pretty much 20 years after the second film. So then it cuts to Laurie Strode. I think that was the next scene. Well, no, it doesn't. That's not what happens next. What happens next is Laurie Strode has a nightmare. She has a nightmare that Michael Myers, they pretty much reenact kind of the scene they did in the second film where Michael Myers went into the classroom and stabbed the desk and stuff, except it was her son, and he wrote Laurie Strode on the chalkboard. So you can still clearly see that she's still being haunted 20 years later after everything that happened. We meet her son, John. And John wants to go on the school field trip, but she won't let him. She never really lets him out of her sight. She's very overprotective of him because she obviously of what happened herself. We find out that her father had sent a gift, and his father's pretty much John's father's pretty much a drug addict. So yeah, so John gets upset that he can't go. He finds out his girlfriend can't go, Molly, because her financial aid didn't go through. So then their friend Sarah can't go either. I think she didn't really want to go, and it's this overnight school field trip. Their parents had to sign a permission slip for it, and we find out that Laurie Strode is now a headmistress at the college called Hail Christ Academy. It's not a college, it's like a private school pretty much because everyone's around 17 there. And John and his friends are just going to have a big college party with just them since they're going to be the only ones on campus pretty much. Yeah, but Laurie Strode still is feeling the effects of Michael Myers. She sees him everywhere. There's a scene where she's looking through the window and she thinks she sees him. She warns the kids to be safe when they go out on the school field trip. Then we find out that Sarah's boyfriend, Will, didn't purposefully didn't hand in his history assignment, so he's not going either. Then the next scene, Michael Myers had driven a car out of the we found out that the nurse was Marion Chamber pretty much, and he pretty much goes to this mother's and child's who was using the bathroom, and he steals her car keys and drives off. Then we meet Laurie Strode's boyfriend Charlie, and yeah, they pretty much have been a thing. Charlie, we find out, is a guidance counselor, and then later on in the movie, we meet the cop Ronald, and Ronald wants to be a writer, but his girlfriend doesn't think he has what it takes to be a writer, or his wife. We don't know what really she is. I'm assuming it's his wife because they're talking like that they live together and stuff. And John wants Ronald to sneak him out of the college so that way he can go get a gift for his girlfriend since they have a night coming out. So he does, and of course, and Laura and Lori and Lori and Charlie, Laura talks about how he's a guidance counselor, and she said that there's something that she just hasn't been able to shake off for the 20 years. Lori thinks that she sees Michael Myers popping up behind her again, but it was actually Charlie, so that spooked her. So then Lori said that she's done everything she could to shake this off. She's done meditation, she's gone to self-help, she's gone to groups, but she just can't do anything. And Charlie said that he'd be willing to listen about anything, but whatever her problems are. And then he walks off, and she asks, and pretty much she also drinks a lot. She's not like a full-on alcoholic, but she drinks pretty good amount of time. Then Lori catches John out of the campus. You're not supposed to leave campus. And Lori, obviously, John knows that Lori gets really weird around Halloween time, and she says, and she gets mad because she does it on Halloween night of all days. John says, I'm sick of dealing with your constant crap. She says that you need to start shaking Michael Myers because I'm done being involved with it because if Michael Myers was going to come back and kill you, he would have done it by now. So then this upsets Lori. They play the theme song that played at the beginning of Halloween 2, and Lori can't listen to it, which I kind of thought was a nice reference right there. Then they go back to the school, and then John, his girlfriend Molly was a dishwasher at the school, and John sends down, there's like a there's like a chute that sends down dishes, and John sends down flowers and a nice little note, and they John says that they're gonna finally celebrate Halloween because this is gonna be his first Halloween, because her mother doesn't like to his mother doesn't like to celebrate Halloween because of Michael Myers. So then back in the class, Lori is talking about Frankenstein, and Molly sees Michael Myers. Michael Myers actually had followed Lori and John back to the school when they were going back from being off campus. And Molly talks about how people should face their fears, and the way that Molly was talking, it really meant that Lori should face her fears against Michael Myers, which I thought was a kind of nice little foreshadowing right there. Then Lori gives John permission to go on the field trip, but John's not going to go. He's because of the party that they have going on, but they don't know that. So then Ronald is talking to his wife about his writing stuff, and then we see Michael Myers drive up, and he opens the gate to see who's in the car. He doesn't see Michael Myers in there. Michael Myers pops up behind him, and he gets freaked out. The phones get cut, and the power gets cut, and Michael Myers doesn't kill him. But we were supposed to have thought that he killed him, but the way the scene ended. So then Laurie Strode is walking out of her office. Laurie Strode, well, first the buses leave, and there was this person, Norma Watson, who was like a teacher there, and Norma wishes Laura the best. She says that you shouldn't focus on the past, you should just focus on today, even though that's the last thing that Laurie wants to focus on, considering the fact that it was Halloween. Then Norma says, "Happy Halloween." And I thought that was actually a pretty good scene. But then anyhow, back to the scene I was on. Laura sees Michael Myers walking towards her. She thinks she's just seeing this. But then and she blinks 3 times. Michael Myers is still coming towards her. But then she sees that it's her boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie offers to come see her tonight. And she agrees. And we find out that it actually was Michael Myers, because when Charlie looks back, he sees Michael Myers walking. Then it cuts to the... Then later on in the film, Charlie goes to see Laurie. And Laurie tells him everything. She pretty much what happened, as I forgot to mention this actually in the film, is Laurie faked her death so that way Michael Myers wouldn't be able to find her. And she changed her name to Carrie Tate, which was a constant theme throughout this movie. I didn't pick up on it for a couple of scenes actually. And she says that she did this so Michael Myers wouldn't be able to find her. And she tells him everything that happened the night in the first film, pretty much. And Charlie's like, "But do you really think that Michael Myers is gonna come after you?" And he said, "Well, he was in an asylum waiting for 50 years. For 20 years. Waited 15 years for me." Waited 15 years for me. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he still come after me? So then, she reveals that she was 17 when this happened, and then we find out that she figures out that John didn't go on the field trip. So this concerns Laura. Laura can't get through to the line, so she grabs her gun, and the police officer Ronald pops up. So they're gonna go find these kids. As this happens, the kids are getting ready to have dinner. One of the kids, Will, goes up and gets a corkscrew bottle so they can open the wine, and he drops it in the drain, and he gets it out, and then Michael Myers pops up behind him, and then what we don't see is he comes down the chute with the dishes and his girlfriend Sarah finds out that his throat's been cut, so she gets scared. She sees Michael Myers. She goes up the chute so Michael Myers can't catch her, and she can't get out of this. She can't get herself free because she's with Will's corpse. So then she's able to get out of it though. But Michael Myers crushes her, cuts down the rope that's connecting the chute, and this crushes her leg, and her leg gets hurt from this. Then Michael Myers pops up and he stabs her repeatedly and kills her. So then John and Molly get suspicious when when Sarah and Will don't come back, so they go to find them. Then they find a path of Sarah's blood, and then John and Molly find Sarah hanging on to a light bulb, her dead body. So then they realize that somebody's there. They run into Michael Myers. Michael Myers chases after them, and they run out of the place. They're gonna go call the cops. Michael Myers pops up and attempts to kill Molly, but John pops up and punches him in the face a couple of times, and he attacks John, stabs him in the leg, and Molly hits Michael Myers off the head with a rock to prevent him from attacking them. They go to run to their dorm to call the cops. Molly gets her key out and unlocks the thing. Then of course she drops her keys, and she reaches up to go get him. Michael Myers pops up, and then they can't get in because the keys. Michael Myers at first just tries to cut at him, but then he sees that they dropped the keys, so he just grabs the keys, which I thought was kind of made Michael Myers look pretty smart. And he unlocks the thing. Laura and Charlie pop up, and they take off in the building. Laura hides them in the closet, and Charlie then thinks that he sees Michael Myers. He shoots him, but we find out it was actually the cop Ronald. So then Michael Myers pops up behind him and murders Charlie. He stabs him right into the right in the stomach. So then Laura runs away from him. Michael Myers is looking all over the place for her. He thinks that she's in a room because there's blood trickling down. Then Laura hits him in the back of the head with a fire extinguisher. And then John, Molly, and Laura run away. Michael Myers tries to catch them. They drive away in a car. Then Laura sends Molly and John out to go get the ambulances and everything. So Laura, and Laura's going to finally confront Michael Myers. After 20 years, it was going to be Laura Strode versus Michael Myers. Obviously, this made sense because she's been grew up with this for years, so she wants to finally face her fears. So she grabs an axe, and she goes after him. They had a great chase scene here. Michael Myers, Laurie tries to hit Michael Myers. Michael Myers cuts his shoulder just like he did 20 years ago. Then she continues to run off. She hides underneath a table. Michael Myers is looking all over the place for her. But then we see that he actually pops up on top of the table where she's underneath. And Michael Myers tries to cut her a bunch of times. She kicks a couple of chairs to distract him. She crawls away. Michael Myers keeps tipping tables over. Then Laura Strode goes into the kitchen. She tries throwing knives at him, but she keeps missing. Then Michael Myers tries to stab her, but she covers herself with a drawer. And she keeps stabbing Michael Myers repeatedly. Then Michael Myers falls off the second floor of the building right through a table. And Laurie Strode goes over there, and she's about to finally stab him to kill him. But then Ronald pops up and is like, "You don't need to. He's dead. He's dead." And then she knows she's not dead, but he backs her off. Then everybody's there, the EMTs and stuff, and they're gonna take Michael Myers away. And Laurie Strode grabs the axe, grabs the gun, and forces him to shut the door. And she drives off with the ambulance. And Michael Myers starts to come to. He cuts himself free from the body bag. He goes to charge at her. He goes right through the windshield. The whole truck rolls down the hill, and she is able to get out of it. The truck's on fire. Michael Myers is strapped between the truck and a tree branch. And Laurie Strode grabs the axe, says Michael. Michael reaches her hand for her, and you think there's going to be like this nice reunion between brother and sister. But then Laurie Strode doesn't accept. She takes his head off with the axe. The police come up, and Laurie Strode finally exhales like she finally killed her brother, and finally put all this behind her. And that was the end of the movie. And overall, I thought this movie actually was really good. I thought this was definitely the best of the sequels, other than Halloween 4 or 2. But I thought, this was the best one in the past couple of movies, because the past couple of movies haven't been the greatest. And the one thing that sucks about it is this isn't the final one. This would have been a perfect final way to kill off Michael Myers. And, the perfect person to finally do so was Laurie Strode. But there's more. Unfortunately, there was another one. And we'll get to that. But overall, as for this movie, it was really good. If I had to I'll give it a 7.5. I liked the story of this movie with Laurie Strode constantly, remembering Michael Myers and, having PTSD from that night. Michael Myers, I thought, as always, had good kill scenes. I thought the actor who played John was very good in this movie. And I thought this just was a good movie and a good story, and it was very simple to follow. Just the thing that hurts it was that they don't really reference anything that goes on in Halloween 4 through 6, and also that Donald Pleasance isn't there to play Dr. Loomis. But overall, the movie was a good movie. Really, was a good movie. 7.5. Let me go over who played who in this movie. Jamie Lee Curtis returned to play Laurie Strode and / Carrie Tate, but Laurie Strode pretty much. This time, Michael Myers was played by Chris Durand. I've noticed not the same person plays Michael Myers every time. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Molly Cartwell was played by Michelle Williams. John Tate was played by Josh Hartnett. And Sarah Wainthropp was played by Jodie Lynn O'Keefe. Will Brennan was played by Adam Arkin. Ronald Jones, or Ronnie for short, was played by LL Cool J. Charlie Dvorix, I don't know how to say his last name, was played by Adam Hain Bryn. Norma Watson was played by Janet Leigh. Marion Chambers, who returned in this movie, was played by Nancy Steffens. I don't know if she was she returned to play Marion Chambers again. Jimmy Howell was played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Shirley Jones, and I had no clue who this was at first, but this was the girlfriend that Ronald was talking to on the phone. She was played by Lisa Gay Hamilton, and Dr. Sam Lewis' voice was played by Tom Kane. It was kind of a shame they couldn't just use the old clips of Donald Pleasance playing doing it, but whatever. Overall, like I said, the movie was really good, and the movie actually did very well in box office draws. This actually is the highest gross movie out of the Halloween franchise. This movie drew in $85 million. That's very well, and that's a huge step up from the last few movies. I believe it's only been like about $15 million. This one actually, however, was $85 million. So this movie did very well in box office draws. The critics gave it a 50-50 review. They said that this was the best out of the sequels. I personally don't think that's the case. I think the second one is the best one out of the sequels. But I still think this movie, I agree with the critics about why they don't like this movie. Obviously, the one thing they didn't say was Donald Pleasance not being in it kind of is a little bit of a factor on it, too. But other than that, the movie still is, I think, really well done. 7.5. It's definitely stuff I would have done differently. But that's pretty much it, guys. Well, the one thing is they did say, with what happens, they talked about, they talked about, like, the stuff that they didn't go, into, like people said that Michael Myers wasn't heard from for 10 years. This movie actually originally was supposed to be called, Laurie Strode's Revenge, and they explained that Michael was missing for 20 years in the comic book series, even though that wasn't the case. So they did go into it somewhat in the comic books, but other than that, that's pretty much it for this review. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and share this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel for more content and click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video on this channel, you guys will get the notification for it. And make sure you guys do the same thing on the CM Brothers YouTube channel. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.